Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about Ohio's Issue 1 and why it's really about informed voting and creating smarter voters. So, basically, a lot of things have happened in the last day or two. Here's what it is when it comes to Issue 1 stuff. Obviously, you have a bunch of Democrats and leftists and everybody else like that is, on the side of George Soros and Michael Bloomberg, who are directly funding the Vote No campaign, are basically, going off on tirades and everything else like that and being like, oh, this is why you should totally vote no against this thing and blah, 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 majority rule this and majority rule that and stuff like that, even though they don't realize that over half of Ohio right now is actually a rural area in this state. It's literally 62.5% of Ohio counties are technically considered rural areas just based on the 2020 census alone is what it is. And population density and stuff like that, where we don't have, millions of people in major cities is what it is here. So, anyway. And then, of course, you got people on both sides bitching about, this, that, and the other thing. And my biggest issue in general is that, and I will call it Republican Party for this one even, y'all should have done your fucking job and gone and found groups like mine, dude. Found groups like Ohio Patriot Education Network, gone and talked to Ohio Advocates for Medical Freedom, gone and talked to Ohio gun owners, gone and talked to any other organization in this state. Stark Stands United was another one of them. Any of these people, dude, any of these groups could have told you, yes, we're all going to vote yes on issue 1, put our group down as part of the yes campaign. And you wouldn't have had stupid shit like we have with specifically when you start looking at the document that was put out here about the people who opposed issue 1 and are actually a bunch of Democrat groups that actually require 60% or higher thresholds to even change their own parties' constitutions and stuff like that's what it is. And the problem is, though, when you start looking at the yes things, it's all a bunch of shit where you have legitimately U.S. Senator J.D. Vance once and then twice, or you have, State Senator Mark Johnson 2 times on that thing. It's like any of those things could have been Ohio Patriot Education Network, Ohioans for Firearms Freedom, Ohio Advocates for Medical Freedom, Ohio Gun Owners, Stark Stands United, any of that stuff, dude. And it would have been more stuff than that even on there. And then, of course, they added like a few of these just to like point out the point here where you got Ohio Democratic Party, League of Women Voters, Planned Parenthood, Ohio Education Association, literally Democrat Socialist of Ohio, and ACLU of Ohio, which is a known Soros-funded group, is what it is. And they're just proxies for George Soros, is what it is there. Which, and that's the point I'm going to make right there. Obviously, when you look at the underlying groups there, it's these people require 60% vote for their membership to change their groups, bylaws / constitution is what it is. Yet they oppose the standard for Ohio Constitution. I also like to point something out on that one too as well with the ACLU and stuff and being funded by George Soros. Here's my thing to anyone that has not voted either way on issue 1 yet. Would you rather have Ohio that would have a better state constitution, a 60% threshold like 41 other states in America, or would you rather have it where outside people, specifically globalists like George Soros, who is a self-admitted Nazi collaborator from Nazi Germany, where he sent people of Jewish faith to death camps to steal their wealth. This is all a 6-minute interview this man did like 10 years ago or so, by the way. For those who don't believe me, you can do the 5 minutes of research and just look up George Soros Nazi collaborator, and I guarantee it's going to pop up there with that 6-minute interview. Or just look up George Soros 6 minutes interview for that matter, and he explains the whole thing and like this whole thing about how he did that shit, where he escaped from, I think it was Hungary, if I'm not mistaken, with his uncle or somebody like that. And then, mind you, he was of Jewish faith himself at that time in history. And then sat there, went back a few years later, after escaping death camps himself, and then going out and ratting out other Jewish people to send them to death camps so he could steal their wealth is what it was. That's how fucked up that man is, by the way. And yet he's not been brought up in Nuremberg trials, not been brought up on various war crimes for decades now. Almost a century now. Like, are you kidding me, bro? It's insane, dude. And this is the guy that's doing all kinds of shady shit in like every single state in this country, has bought off many, many DAs in this nation, the same areas, whether it be there in Monmouth County in Portland, Oregon, where you have Antifa and BLM running the streets there and doing all kinds of fucking murder and everything like that all day long, or whether it be that Kim Fox woman in Chicago, whether it be various other DAs in other places and stuff. I'm trying to think where the other ones are now. There's a few other ones out there too. I want to say there's one in Pennsylvania. I know for a fact that there was that one that got brought up on charges recently in, I want to say Missouri, but I could be wrong about that one. I think it was one of the M states anyway. Maryland, maybe? Wherever Freddie Gray's death happened, it was that DA woman. She was the one that was a Soros DA, and she got brought up on charges recently, is what it was. But yeah, it's all these people that are bought and paid for by this dude, who are basically, Alvin Bragg, actually, the guy that's against Trump right now in Manhattan there. He's another one that took millions of dollars from George Soros to fuck over law and order there in New York City. And it's like, dude, you got mass murder going on all over New York, where this man's district is, where he's being a DA at, and he's pissing away money to fuck over Trump is what it is. Like, it's just, it really does boggle the mind, honestly. But then you realize it's all criminals protecting criminals is what it is, man. And that's the whole problem right now in our country. But anyway, we're going to go over a couple things when it comes to why people should vote yes on issue 1 here. And, just in general, just the hypocrisy of everything here. Obviously, like we already showed there, you got like Democrats and everything else like that being hypocrites because of their own bylaws and stuff for their own groups and what have you, or Democrat Party and stuff like that. State of Ohio, it's all their constitution there and stuff where it requires 60% to change there. But yet they're all against actually doing a 60% voter threshold for Ohio's constitution. And going to specifically Facebook today, we're actually going to discuss something that one of the people that's part of Stark Stage United put out here earlier, which was the Sean guy saying, everyone keeps asking about the issue on the upcoming ballot. This is the best explanation I've seen so far. Said, looking at both sides, first, a vote no would continue the current simple majority requirement of 50% plus 1 vote to make a change to the Ohio Constitution. A yes vote would change that requirement to a supermajority to make the constitutional change. 60% of all Ohio voters would decide any changes to our state constitution. A no vote sounds good on the surface. 1 person equals 1 vote, and the simple majority wins. However, on the flip side, the majority of voters from Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, aka the 3 major shitholes in this state right now, show up to vote on an issue. The rest of Ohio gets outweighed by the sheer population density numbers and are stuck with what the 3 big cities want. And if they want to fuck over our gun rights, they're going to fuck over our gun rights. If they want to fuck over human right to life, they're going to do that, etc., etc. Anyway, continues on, says a yes vote would level the playing field for the rural areas of Ohio to actually have a voice that matters, and that would be a voice that matters for once is what it is, because we never really had that voice here is what it is. Continued on, said, to me, constitutional changes should not be easy to make and swayed by a simple majority. It should take serious debate and reflect the opinion and ideals of the whole state and not just the areas of the state where the population is the greatest. Second, a vote no would continue the rule of that only requires initiatives for constitutional changes to get signatures from only half of the counties in the state of Ohio, being 44 of 88 currently, to get them on the ballot. A yes vote would change that to require signatures in all 88 counties in Ohio in order to get a constitutional change on the ballot. Have you ever gone voting, read a proposed issue, and wondered, where the hell did this come from? All the time, my friend. All the time. In fact, there were several last year even that we had on our 2022 ballot initiatives and stuff like that. And I was like, who the fuck brought these forth, man? Because it was stuff about like bail reform and stuff like that. That being said, both of those things that were on both issue 1 and issue 2 back then, they both passed by more than 60% of the voters is what it was. And that's why they're both been adopted into state law is what it is right now. So it's not like it can't be done. It's just a bunch of lazy bastards on the left that know that they can't actually get the 88 counties or get 60% of the voters to actually agree on their bullshit is what it is. It's why they want to push abortion so hard with 50% plus 1 vote. It's why they want to push anti-gun laws through with 50% plus 1 vote, etc., etc. It's why you have Bloomberg basically back in the Vote No campaign, because he wants to do the same bullshit he did to Oregon to Ohio now with BM 114. And just do that, basically copy and paste document here, because he knows the Democrat Party that he's bought and paid for, specifically Allison Russo, that he has his MDA bitches 2 years ago, literally hand a fat ass envelope full of cash to bribe her, that the Democrats hold no power here, really, and they never will again, because Ohio has been done such a way with districting and stuff like that to where Democrats will never hold a majority here ever again, and nor should they. In fact, every single Democrat that's currently in the state house and state senate, for that matter, should all be in Ohio State prison right now for deprivation of rights of law, for all the anti-gun shit they try to push through right now. And on top of that, all the anti-life stuff they try to push through as well in the past 3 to 4 years now since Dayton Massacre happened. So, anyway. Continuing on with this, though. Says... Yeah, have you ever read it and wonder where the hell this come from? Well, that's because your county was not involved in the collection of signatures for that issue to get on the ballot in the first place. That's where the special interest groups get away with BS initiatives and constitutional changes to get on our ballot in the first place. They'll only canvass for signatures in the 44 counties most favorable to their issue, leaving the other 44 counties or half the state in the dark. And yes, this applies to both sides of the aisle. And they're right about that. It does, dude. I've seen it before. I say it many, many times, actually. Just like when you look at when they were doing the abortion initiative here, where did they go to? They went up to Cleveland. They went down to Cincinnati. They went down to Columbus. And they went up to other places like Akron, Canton, Dayton, Toledo, etc. And that's where the majority of their stuff came from. Because even here in Stark County, where I live at, which is where both Akron and Canton exist at, you have a bunch of signatures for the abortion thing for November come from here. And it was all from those major cities, what it was. It was from Akron and Canton specifically, which I've talked to people that live in these cities, dude, that are voters there. And I got to tell you, they are some of the dumbest, most uninformed people in this entire state. Hell, I was talking about it here in one of these grandstands yesterday, I believe is what it was, maybe the day before that. You had one guy who was on the Ohio subreddit recently, had no idea what issue one was even about, didn't even bother taking 5 minutes to do research for it, even 3 minutes for that matter, dude, which you could have found it easily on that one for, 180 seconds of your life is what it is. Didn't bother doing even that little bit of research, yet just went along with the masses, went along with the rest of the sheeple that were all like, oh, you need to vote no on this, and was like, I don't know what this one's about, but I'm going to vote no on it anyway, because fuck them. These are the kind of people that have voting rights by default in this country. Really shouldn't, honestly, because it's like, yeah, if you're going to be that stupid with your vote and fuck over someone else's vote that would be voting yes on this whole thing, that you're going to literally level each other out on that one, dude, like, maybe one of you shouldn't have voting rights, and this is a stupid motherfucker that's uninformed as hell is what it is. And that goes back to what I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, which is basically creating more informed, better informed voters and smarter voters for that matter, because that's the thing. A lot of voter base in this country are stupid, man. They are stupid and they are fucking lazy. And when you have stupid, lazy people having voting rights to do stupid bullshit, what are they going to do? They're going to give it up to globalist outsiders every fucking chance that they get in most cases. Because they would rather sit there and piss away and fuck off and do everything else like that than actually take a couple minutes of their life to do actual research about an initiative or about a voting thing entirely, whatever the case be it is. If it's a bunch of different, if it's an actual time where we're voting on various candidates and stuff like that, they don't even bother taking the time to spend a couple minutes there to figure out what this person's political platform is about. And then you wonder why you get pieces of shit like Allison Russo in office, or Casey Weinstein for that matter. I mean, he hoaxed himself almost 4 years ago and was still not in Ohio prison for that one. Like, seriously, come on, man. We all know the tyrant meme hoax was easily proven, and yet nobody did a damn thing. Even the Ohio GOP didn't do a damn thing to arrest this motherfucker on that shit, dude. Just so insane. It really is. Anyway, continuing back on with this, though. So, yeah, you basically got half the people canvassing and half the ones left in the dark there. The Sean guy said, to me, a yes vote would actually increase informed voting. All voters in Ohio would actually get the chance to be aware of upcoming ballot initiatives and be able to really question what the proposed initiative is all about in the first place. So keep this in mind, 50 of Ohio's 88 counties are considered rural areas according to U.S. Census in 2020. That means 62.5% of Ohio is rural. If you think it's time for rural Ohio voters to actually matter when it comes to changing the Ohio Constitution, now is the time to think about that one. Since our founding fathers intended to make it hard to amend the U.S. Constitution, that's why at a federal level it takes a 2/3, 60% of the House and Senate, and 3/4 of the states, aka 75% of the states, to amend the U.S. Constitution, not a 50% majority or 51% majority. Which really, that's the thing. It's not even 51% majority. It's literally 50% of the voter base plus a single voter. So if that, like, basically, this is how Ohio is right now. You have essentially 8 million people that could possibly vote in the state of Ohio out of like almost 12 million people live here. Of those 8 million, roughly around 4 million, give or take, vote every election cycle. So about half. So you're talking about if you have 2 million plus one vote, they can change something. And then meanwhile, 1,999,999 get fucked over in that situation. And then so did the rest of the people that didn't vote at all. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it wouldn't even be like all voters at that point. It would be like every person that voted, and then anybody that could have voted and didn't vote that also got fucked over in that situation. And it's just like the same crap in Oregon, like I said earlier, dude, with BM 114 there, that they're actually fighting in courts now because of that shit, because it's all unconstitutional is what it is. You literally had Bloomberg through every town, through MDA, etc. there, as well as Gabby Gifford's anti-gun group there, pay a bunch of people similar to the ACLU over there. I believe it was a couple $1,000s to go out there and do various surveying and stuff like that, people. And when they broke it down, what they figured out was every person that they got to vote no on BM 114 was roughly $2.36 per voter. That's what it took to sell out the gun rights of the state of Oregon. I will be goddamned if that shit happens here in Ohio, dude. I will not watch my fucking gun rights be taken away from me or anyone else for that matter, because some fucking dickless turd piece of shit motherfucker who should be in jail right now for short selling stock, who made his entire fortune based on that shit alone, being that asshole Michael Bloomberg, who was one of the most racist pieces of shit in U.S. history with his stop and frisk garbage they did as New York City's mayor, was also one of the most authoritarian nanny state little shithead, shitbirds, etc. I will be damned if I let that asshole have any fucking say in state of Ohio politics, dude. Or his MDA bitches for that matter, either for that matter. Because every single one of these fucking people, oh my god, dude. They are the biggest fucking scumbags in U.S. history, man. And like I said earlier, with Soros, etc., dude. The fact that he's actively funding the ACLU right now, the fact that he has serious fucking financial interest in that organization. You literally have a dude who is a Nazi collaborator pushing forward an initiative to fuck over the state. That alone should tell you everything you know, man. Bloomberg and Soros, both globalist sacks of shit, both part of Bilderberg. Do you really want Bilderberg group to actually have the ability to have their puppet master hand over the state of Ohio? Because I sure as shit don't. And I tell you right now, every single person I've talked to, whether it be from Stark Stands United, whether it be other members of the Ohio Patriot Education Network, whether it be Ohio gun owners, whether it be Ohio Advocates for Medical Freedom people, whether it be any of these other groups out there that are supporters of Issue 1, every single one of these people across the board is like, hell no, we do not want special interest groups like Soros and Bloomberg, etc., taking over our state constitution, which is exactly what will happen if Issue 1 does not pass next Tuesday. That being said, 1 week from now, if it does not pass, I will be petitioning for one county, one rep. And you will see our petition get hella quick off the ground and get shit done here. And you will see a lot of fucking Democrats be losing their jobs in our state house and state senate right now, if that becomes law. And even if Issue 1 does pass, I'm still thinking about doing it, honestly, because I think, truthfully, you could get 60% of the voter base right now on board with it. You could get all 88 counties, 5% of them, to actually back a one county, one rep legislation. Because that's the thing. When you look at half the people in the state right now, I guarantee you, if you went down, specifically if you went down to Columbus or up to Cuyahoga County where Cleveland's at, or down to Hamilton County where Cincinnati's at, or any of these other areas across the state, and you straight up ask people in the state right now, who is your state representative? More than half of them in those major cities would never be able to tell you. My sister, who lives in Columbus, in one of the suburbs there, I asked her straight up last year. I was like, because I know she votes Democrats a lot is what it is. And I know it was Democrats that were pretty much in those districts there is what it was down in Columbus. And I'm like, okay, who'd you vote for? She couldn't even tell me, because that's the problem. When you have 11 fucking seats in Franklin County alone, 10 of which are held by Democrats, people have no idea who they're even voting for. And in most cases, like Allison Russo or Dontavius Jarrells or any other people like that, Letitia Humphreys is another one of those people, by the way, in Columbus area. All three of those Democrats got in with single horse races. They beat no one at all in primaries or in general elections to get into office. They should not be sitting state reps right now because of that alone. If you cannot even have a challenger because you have gerrymandered a district so hard one way or the other, you probably shouldn't be sitting state rep at that point, or sitting state senator for that matter. And if nothing else, it means we need to change our fucking districting in this state entirely. And like I said before, if it was up to me, honestly, I'd say kick everybody the fuck out right now and get over 100 new people in office right now, dude. Kick everybody out right now. The 100 and trying to think what the actual number is right now, because it's 99 state house, 100 and it's 132. That's what it is, because we got 33 state senators right now. So yeah, 132 people get kicked the fuck out. We bring back in 110. Because you have 88 state reps then, and then you have 22 state senators after that, instead of 33. That's what needs to happen right now. And I guarantee if you brought in 110 new people, there would be a lot more constitutionalists in our state house right now. There would be a lot more people who actually gave a shit about their oath of office, not be a bunch of oath-breaking sacks of shit. And you would have a better overall state house right now, and state senate for that matter too, an overall general assembly, because it wouldn't be corrupt as hell is what it is. Same thing with governorship, same thing with Secretary of State's office, etc., dude. You boot DeWine out, you boot LaRose out, everything like that, dude. You have brand new races with somebody else in there, other people in there entirely, from all various parties and stuff like that, and you have an actual representation now is what it is. Because as I said before, I've seen it multiple times in the past 5 years on this channel, honestly. Obviously, some of the stuff is now hidden information and stuff like that, because I had to do a whole change up on this channel is what it is then. But yeah, a bunch of the stuff I talked about years ago, dude, back in the 2020 lockdowns and stuff like that's what it was. DeWine, LaRose, etc., have direct ties to the householder bribery scandal. So does pretty much every single Democrat currently sitting in our state house and state senate for that matter, except for a few who didn't vote for householder or for HB6 is what it is. Now, granted, those same dickheads, like previously mentioned Casey Weinstein, who did vote against it, has done so much other criminal shit, though. His ass should be in prison for a bunch of stuff, including a hate hoax on himself, if that be the case, man. Literally, I was federally swatted just under 4 years ago right now. It'll be about a week from now is when my 4th anniversary will be for that whole thing. It was roughly a month from now will be the 4th anniversary of when Casey Weinstein printed off a bunch of fucking tyrant memes, threw them into his own mailbox, illegally using a USPS system to do so, and then claiming somebody sent him a bunch of tyrant memes while he was pushing for magazine bans and other gun controls in the state, by the way. I'd like to point that one out. And yeah, he never brings up that whole point. Or he never brings up the point of how people that went to his house like a year or so ago were actually his supporter base, but instead went on local media, specifically local ABC affiliates and stuff like that, and were like, these people are outside my house threatening me. No, dumbass. There is literal news coverage of them being your fucking supporter base, you dumb fuck. But yet you want to sit there and lie and gaslight people and straight up continue to lie and play identity politics all the time. Because, shocker, you're a fucking cunt, Casey. And that's the entire point. I've gotten to it with Casey's wife, actually, Amanda Weinstein, a couple times on Twitter, actually. and called her ass out on shit too as well, because she was one of the ones that was canvassing for the abortion stuff here in the last few months is what it was. And yeah, needless to say, she's a fucking idiot just like her idiot husband is, dude. They're both a couple of morons. Fucking cowards is what they really are, honestly, in many cases. Just like most Democrats in the state. And actually most leftists for that matter as well. That's why I still can't, that's why after almost a year now, I still can't find anybody that will actually debate me on topics right now. Whether it be pro-gun versus anti-gun, whether it be pro-life versus, anti-life / pro-choice people, etc., etc. And I've still been looking to do those debates, by the way, because I plan on running next year for county commissioner. And yeah, still can't find people to debate me, man, because nobody will, because they're a bunch of fucking cowards that know they're going to lose is what it is. That know I could trounce their asses on a bunch of different stuff like that, and know that a lot of cases, when you look at issue 1, people are pissed, man, and they have a right to be pissed off that you have a bunch of fuckery going on with outside special interest groups led by George Soros, Michael Bloomberg, etc., a bunch of globalist sacks of shit who are trying to buy off our Constitution when you have literally $7+ million in ad buys in the last 2 weeks or so from California, New York, Washington, D.C., etc. These people aren't living in Ohio, dude. They're a bunch of outsiders trying to fuck over our state constitution is what it is, and keep us at a 50% plus 1 simple majority so that they can sit there in a future election cycle 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, and try to fuck over our 2A rights, or 1A rights for that matter, even in most cases, because they want to censorship us in real life is what it is, dude. I mean, hell, they're already doing it on social media platforms all over this country right now. Now they just want to do it in real life. I heard of one actually today. There was a guy in Wisconsin yesterday outside of a drag event on a public sidewalk, by the way, a public sidewalk that his tax dollars paid for, simply reading Bible quotes, exercising his First Amendment rights of freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and you had a bunch of crooked-ass cops arrest this man. I'll tell you what, if I was in that guy's shoes, so many people would be getting sued right now. Wrongful arrest lawsuits, fucking every single cop involved in that would have their badges stripped from them and have their pension taken from them and put in my pocket. The entire state of Wisconsin would now be on the hook for shit. Fucking governor there. I would individually start suing the shit out of fucking lawmakers in that state as well, for that matter, dude. Because that's what needs to happen, honestly, at this point. I've said it before, I'll say it again, man. It's time to start suing the shit out of individual representation of this country. If they're actively trying to fuck you over, if it's active cops trying to fuck you over, whatever the case be, because they're crooked as shit, they're earth-breaking assholes like that, sue the shit out of them is what it is, man. Take them for every last dime that they have is what it is. The issue with a lot of those lawsuits is it's not going to be them paying, though. It's going to be the taxpayers paying that money. And that's why we need to have better laws in our books right now, federally and at state levels, to be able to actually lawsuit a criminal politician for every dime that they have is what it is. Not money that they're, going to have the state pay or the city pay or whatever it is. No, it's going to be their individual wealth. It's going to be bankrupting their ass. And the same thing with these special interest groups, whether it be Everytown, whether it be MDA, etc. there, every single one of these people right now should be looking at 2 things for the crappy ass lies and everything else they're putting through with these BS no on issue 1 ad buys right now. They should be arrested, honestly, for lies and deception right now, for deception, defamation, etc. there. They should also be looking at defamation lawsuits and stuff on top of that. And then, even on top of that, then, you should actually have a bunch of these people being sued on other things for that matter, too, because they're straight up lying about stuff. So, yeah, enough is enough, dude. And I've said before, I'll say it again. We really do need a 20th Amendment to the Constitution right now, U.S. Constitution. That would be auto-decused from office at every single level. And if you're straight up lying about shit, dude, in an ad or whatever the case be, or whether something, like, for that matter, it doesn't really matter if it's for over an issue or over a campaign or whatever it is, dude. If you're straight up lying about things, though, your lying ass needs to be tossed out of office immediately. And if you're running for office and you're not actually in office yet, you're tossed out of the fucking campaign trail entirely then. The same thing with certain political platforms you'd be running on, whether it be gun control, whether it be killing kids in the womb, whatever the case be, auto-decused as well on top of that. So, anyway, enough is enough of this shit, dude. It's time to take back this country. It's time to take back the state, honestly. And it starts by making sure issue 1 passes next Tuesday. So if you're an Ohio voter, please please vote yes on issue 1. If anything I've said today sways you, I hope it does, honestly, because enough is enough of this shit, dude. Enough is enough allowing the left to have what they're fucking saying and trying to screw over our state, our country, and be able to indict, the actual president of this nation, being Donald J. Trump, on some BS like that. And now, of course, you got Dana Nissel doing the same thing there in Michigan to her political opponent from last year. We need election audits is what we really need in this country, honestly, dude. Legitimately. And the fact that you don't have every single election in this country being audited every single go is exactly why we have massive voter fraud happening with the Democrat Party and being allowed to have cheaters in that party continue to keep getting into office or remain in office, because they're not being actively investigated for the actual clear cheats that they've committed right now and removed from those offices in handcuffs for the various voter fraud crimes they're committing is what it is. So anyway, but needless to say, yeah, issue 1 needs to pass. We need to have a better constitution right now. We need to be just like 41 other states that require 60% or greater percentage to amend their constitution is what it is. And it should be hard to amend a state constitution, man. It should not be easy to take established principles of a state constitution, specifically Article 1, Section 4 of the Ohio Constitution, that grants us the right to keep and bear arms, and have some asshole billionaire or multiple asshole billionaires come in and be like, oh no, we're just going to rewrite stuff now and put in this other ballot crap to get 50% plus 1 vote to fuck that over, even though it's been established since 1850, since the founding of Ohio. So anyway, needless to say, I'm in this fight for the long haul. So is the rest of the network. So is the rest of our allied groups out there, whether it be Ohio Gunners, whether it be Ohio Advocates for Medical Freedom, whether it be Stark Stands United, whether it be Ohioans for Firearms Freedom, whether it be even our friends at Buckeye Firearms. Should I say friends? They're more acquaintances than anything, but, sometimes they can do good stuff and help us out. Other times they're kind of, but either way, if we're all on the same side of things, dude, it's good for everybody. And we all understand that they're trying to fuck our Constitution is what it is. We all understand they're trying to fuck over our gun rights and everything else for that matter. And we're not going to let them do that. And that's why it's time to vote yes on issue 1 and have this state be better state overall. And from there, we can actually have better ballot initiatives. People can actually be informed on what the hell is on our damn ballots and know before elections even happen that no, we're going to vote against this, or we're just going to shut it down from getting on the ballot is what it is. And that's the thing. And, it's funny to me how you have these Democrats falsely claiming these narratives of like, oh, but one county can shut down 87. You fucking people ain't never getting 87 counties to agree on your shit. Shit, man. You look at the abortion stuff that they put through here for November. They couldn't even get 70 counties. The 65 that even signed on to it were like barely signed on to it in most cases. And I guarantee you, if it had to be like the actual thing from the previous election cycle, because it was actually less than that right now, if it had to be that threshold, where it had to be 5% of the vote across the board, they would have never even had 65 counties. It would have been like maybe 40-something-ish, if even that many. So it wouldn't even been half the state they would have needed, is what it is currently. And so, yeah, this would have never been an issue to begin with, is what it is, man. Honestly, I think the worst thing that happened in this whole election cycle right now was you had that moron Frank LaRose at some stupid fucking county meeting or whatever it was there being like, yeah, this is 100% about abortion. Because it's not just about abortion, dude. That's just one of many factors. It's one of many factors to save children from being mass murdered in the womb right now. Another part of the BS in November is child sterilization. Because if you look at the actual legislation they're trying to pass right now in November here, it is a copy and paste of what Michigan passed almost a year ago now, which is no parental consent for abortion, no parental consent for child hormone drugs, children being hormone drugs, whether it be HRT or anything else like that. You can have kids do anything without parental consent, basically. And like I said, it should have been anywhere from 3 to 4 amendments in that whole thing. You should have had one about parental rights, one about abortion, one about child sterilization, aka puberty blockers and hormone drugs, is what it is. And then potentially a fourth one for some other stuff as well on top of that. Because I know there's something else in there. Like, I still can't remember what the hell it is, honestly, offhand. But there's like some weird shady shit, is what it is, honestly. I think it's like viability or something, maybe. And that's what it is, actually, I'm thinking of. It was like the viability of how you can have like one kid that's like 5 months along and be viable child or whatever, and the other kid's like 9 months along, and it's like, oh no, that kid could still be aborted or whatever the case be. It's like, nah, bro, like there needs to be a standardization of at what point does everybody across the board agree that obviously this is a fucking child in the womb currently. And if you can't even agree on that, then again, maybe you shouldn't have voting rights. You know, like, seriously, if you don't understand that you have a child that is months along and has a heartbeat different from your own, maybe you don't need to have the right to vote anymore on anything. You know, because clearly you're not smart enough to understand what human life actually is at that point. So, anyways, needless to say, I'm pretty much over all of it right now, and can't wait until next Tuesday. I'll be getting out and voting yes. Pretty much everybody I've talked to recently is going to be doing the same. I'm very optimistic right now that this will pass. How much it will pass by, I have no idea. Could be 50% plus one vote. Could be fucking 51, 52%. Could be 60%. But either way, I'm sure if it's less than 60%, you're going to have a leftist be like, well, this is some bullshit because it didn't even pass the amount you need to amend the thing to begin with. Like, shut the fuck up, children. Seriously. Adults are talking now. And that's the problem with most of these leftist jerk-offs is what it is. So, anyway. Needless to say, yeah, we're going to do our thing. We're going to get things done. And, yeah, I'll be running for county commissioner next year against Bill Smith here in Stark County. So, as long as I can get enough, what do you call it now? The required signatures I need to get on the ballot is what it is there. Which I only need 50 right now from Republicans. So, it should be easy to do that. It's just getting out there and getting the stuff done and being able to get it before the deadline is what it'll be then. And hopefully I can primary the guy out because Bill Smith, here's a fun story about Bill Smith actually before we leave today for this whole thing. So Bill Smith, another oath-breaking sack of shit I've talked about on this channel before. Going back to Star Stars United actually. So was one of the leadership of Star Stars United about 3.5 years ago, give or take. Maybe 4 years ago, honestly. Like I'm trying to think exactly what time it was then. Would have been the end of 2019, I believe. So it would have been like November, maybe, of 2019, December, someplace in there. You had a random meeting at one of the school boards or something around here is what it was. And you had one of our people there who was talking about at that meeting about like different stuff and whatnot, like the potential for, Stark County becoming a 2A sanctuary is what it was. You had Bill Smith, and nobody knew who he was at the time because we didn't really know what it looked like is what it was, go up to this chick and straight up tell her that he would never make Stark County a Second Amendment sanctuary county. And if we wanted to do that, to vote him out and he would go play golf in Florida. But instead of just resigning after the end of that term, no, he ran again and didn't get a chance to get primaried out because our people didn't get enough votes to actually get on the ballot themselves as outside write-in candidates is what it was, because you had to have like 5,000 or something at the time is what it was, and they got, I think it's like 3,500 or something, which, mind you, they were able to get that 3,500 votes, or that 3,500 signatures on the petition is what it was, in the time span of like 3 weeks. If they had like another month or so, they would have 100% had enough time to get on those ballots, and one of them won a primary Bill Smith's ass, then is what it would have been. So that's why I'm going to try and do this now, next year, and do it the right way and be able to, once and for all, he wants to go play golf in Florida, he can go do that, honestly. And Adam will take over that county commissioner seat and start getting shit done here is what it is, and making this county a much better county overall, because we'd actually work on real stuff like fixing the roads and drains and stuff like that, something that clearly Smith and Richard Regula and Jeanette Work-Reeton have completely ignored here in Stark County for years now. So, you know, and I think that's the problem right now. It's like, yeah, if you want to be a county commissioner, dude, like, do your actual job and not, you know, fuck off and embezzle money and stuff like that where you give yourself a legal $10,000 raise is what it is. So, anyway, that's pretty much where we're at, though, right now. But we will basically, you know, be back for another one here at some point. I'll be back tomorrow, actually, for our regular Buckshot Thursday episode, and then Friday for Freedom Friday. Both of those being that tomorrow will be the 4th anniversary of the El Paso Massacre, and Friday will be the 4th anniversary of the Dayton Massacre. We'll be doing a list of names of remembering the people that, you know, unfortunately passed in those preventable tragedies, and discussing the overall things that have happened in Texas and Ohio, respectively, when it comes to pro-2A legislation and everything else like that in the past 4 years now. So, you know, look forward to those ones. Mostly it'll be similar to what we did last Friday with the Gilroy Garlic Festival 4th anniversary, where it was basically just a leading list of the names being read, and those who should be remembered is what it is, not these scumbag mass murderers is what it is. So, anyway, until then, I will be back then for that, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you haven't voted yet, please consider voting yes on issue 1, because it is going to be better for the state of Ohio if you do. And if you're going to vote no on issue 1, you know, what the hell are you thinking, man? Seriously, come on. Like, do you really want to be the person that goes down the wrong side of history? That goes down the side of history that Michael Bloomberg and George Soros are both part of? Like, really, you want to go down that road? I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you do. Maybe you are that kind of piece of shit, honestly. I don't really care, honestly. You know? All I'll say is vote, you know? Preferably vote yes, but still, just get out there and vote, man. You know, make your voice heard is what it is. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.